Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is I Rant Too with Xavian D, a podcast where we dive into real life issues, where we share inspiring stories, and where we talk about life, culture, and everything in between. I'm your host, Xavian D, and whether you're tuning in at your commute, you're at your job, you're at work, you're at your home by yourself with somebody else, look, I just thank you for tuning in. In each episode, we're going to dive into some personal growth topics. We're going to dive into some cultural topics. We're going to dive into these things, and we're going to have a little fun with it too. And this season, we also have a few expert guests to talk about their experiences and to provide their unique background on things. Look, if you're watching on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to go ahead and give me that like in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and click the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you know when we're dropping new content. And of course, make sure to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at I Rant Too with Xavian D. Look, let's go ahead and get right into today's episode. And don't ever forget this. They rant, you rant, but I rant too. Enjoy the episode. What's going on? You already heard the intro. This is another episode of I Rant Too with Xavian D. And of course, you already know what this is. This is Xavian D. and this is the Lewis brand. There we go, right there. You did it alongside me. Look, I'm very excited. I think this is my first episode of 2025, and y'all, it's been a lot going on. If I could tell you everything that has happened to me so far in the year of 2025, you would be surprised. You would say, oh my God, how are you still getting through what you're getting through? But that's what this whole episode today is talking about. And if I had to title it, we're going to put this for, SEO purposes and, YouTube title purposes. This purpose of, the topic of the discussion that we're going to have today is from rock bottom to reset, how to rebuild when life falls apart. I know a lot of people go through life, and I really want to talk to my Gen Zers here, because I'm a member of Gen Z, born in April of 26 of 2002. What's going on, Gen Z? I love y'all. Y'all my folks. And I really want to talk to you all today, but a lot of people go through life and they experience resets. They experience moments where you feel like you're on a great upward stride, and somehow, some way, it's like a reset button gets hit, and it's like, it's demoralizing, it's debilitating. It almost feels like you become paralyzed, because you're in your head. You get in your head about a bunch of different things. It's a lot, because this is what I'm currently going through in my head. But let's start off with this. If you've been following me on social media, you already kind of know what happened. Somehow, some way, don't know how, my Instagram got hacked. And if you know me, I had a pretty great following on Instagram, upwards of 5,000 followers, still not a huge amount of followers, but still, enough to where that, when things were posted, it reached a greater audience, got hacked. Had to start over there. So I said all that to say right there, if you're watching this podcast, go right over to Instagram and follow me. This time, this is going to be my name. It's Xavian D. XavianD. Xavian D. on Instagram. And of course, still support my podcast page. That's where you'll find all podcasting content. I Rant Too with Xavian D. The whole title, just type right into your search bar. And of course, follow me on TikTok, the Lewis brand, Facebook, Xavian D. all that good stuff. And of course, right here on YouTube as well, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're just listening to the audio version of this, please do not hesitate to give the podcast a follow, but also follow us on YouTube at the Lewis brand. But I said all that to say, it's hard in this whole mindset of trying to reset, because it's like, you do all of this, and then it becomes in that mindset of like, for what? What am I doing all of this for? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing these things? What am I doing all of this for? It feels like it's for nothing, and I hate that feeling of, okay, I know y'all see me looking over here. I'm just trying to make sure I'm using, if you're a podcaster, I have been using, well, I also do like just a little slightest taste of music production as well. Just a slightest taste. I just be playing around with this stuff myself. So I'm using GarageBand this time to record my audio through. Since I have a what do you call this mic? I have a Shure, and I have I hook it up to the DBX mixer and put it to the Focusrite and all that kind of stuff. So I was using Ableton, but I'm gonna tell y'all what happened. I had recorded an episode back in January. This was another debilitating thing too. Recorded a whole episode back in January. None of the audio went well. I hated that. So now here I am, almost being April, the end of March, and here I am trying to record some more episodes because it's like every time I build myself up to keep moving forward. This is all I'm still talking about. How do I rebuild when my life starts falling apart around me? I'm rebuilding, and I'm in that stage right now where certain days I get up and I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Ugh! And it's frustrating. It's frustrating, right? It's frustrating knowing that, hey, I've been doing this. I've been successful doing this. And now I have to take a step back. I've been successful going down this path, and I have to take a step back. Why? I don't want to. That's the biggest thing right there. I don't want to. I don't want to have to rebuild. I don't want to have to, because let me tell you what is going to eventually happen. Rebuilding and having to start over and have to deal with a setback, it forces you to fix the areas that you were procrastinating to fix before. Let me talk about it right quick. Before, with my Instagram, I would just rely. I don't know what just happened to my phone. Something happened, but it's fine now. With my phone, with my Instagram and my social media platforms in general, I would just rely on some semblance of virality, or a video going viral, and that just brings in an influx of followers and likes and shares and comments and all that stuff. I never really had a plan. And you know what starting over has forced me to have to do? It's forced me to have to get things in place. It's forced me to have to write these things out. Well, I say write out. Some things I've written out. Some things just I think about it and I'll type it in my notes. But it's forced me to develop habits. It's forced me, because we talked about this earlier on in the season when we talked about fundamentals. It's forced me to develop and hone my fundamentals, because before I was waiting on that moment, and I had depended on those moments where I could just get up at any simple time and a viral moment would happen, and I would use that as my launch pad or my rocket, and I would use that. But now here I am having to start over. And it's frustrating, yes. It's frustrating to have to start over. Or maybe you're experiencing something in your life, right? Maybe you just got your degree. You're getting ready to graduate college, or you just graduated college, or, you're getting ready to graduate college coming up in May. And you yourself might have to experience a setback, or what you feel like might be a reset. Here you are with a bachelor's degree, 4 years. You done cry blood, sweat, and tears over your physics class, your economics class. You done went through biochem. You done did all this stuff. And you feel like, here I am after doing all of that, and I'm back working a 9-to-5 job that's not in my field. What's going on in my life right now? It's frustrating, yes, but I swear to you that it's all working for your good. There is a hidden blessing in a forced reset. Let's just say theoretically you have a computer, right? If you know me, sometimes growing up the computer would start running slow. So what would you do? Instead of being patient and let it do whatever it was going to do, you would force it to do a hard reset. How would you do that? You just hold that button in and you wait until you hear the motor turn off in the actual computer, and then you give it a couple seconds. And then you turn it back on, and then it's back good. Now, it wasn't always good to do a hard reset, because you might lose some fire. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord. That's good to me right there. Sometimes in a hard reset, you're going to lose some things. That's the whole purpose of the hard reset. You're going to lose some things. But in order to get yourself back working the way you should, in order to get yourself back working and calibrating correctly, you have to go through a hard reset. And that's what I'm experiencing right now in life. I'm going through, not for my full life, just in certain areas, I'm going through a hard reset. I'm trying to figure out how do I navigate this now path to keep going where I want to go. I have huge aspirations for my life. I have huge aspirations. And you know, I bring these things to God and I hope that he honors them. But, you know, all in all, is God's plans, my plans. Amen. It's God's ways, not my ways. If he sees fit to have these things go forward. But I have huge aspirations for life. I have things that I want to do. And I know social media has to be one of those avenues to get to where I'm trying to go. And so then it's like, this is one of the avenues I was using. This is going to mess with my revenue. I was going to, you know, this year I was going to try to get some brand deals and all this sort of yada, yada, yada. And nobody's going to entertain me with brand deals if I have less than 1,000 followers and all these different things. All of this is going through my head because I went through this hard reset. Now realizing the hidden blessing that was in the reset. The hidden blessing that was in the reset was just the whole idea that this allows me to become more accountable to myself. This allows me to go back and say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for the rest of this year concerning my podcast. I'm going to do this X, Y, and Z for the rest of the year concerning the content I want to put out. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z for the rest of these 3 months, of the next couple of weeks, and I'm going to stick to it. I'm going to stick to it. And I have to see it happen in real time because I can't depend anymore on something just going viral, skyrocketing me to another place. I can't depend on those things anymore. In case you didn't know, in case you don't know me from like a long time ago, this is like my 4th Instagram. I remember the first time I went viral, I had a page then, and that happened, and I lost it. I had a second page, reposted the same video on that second page. So it's happened like 4 times now. 4 times, and it really, really hurt that not this last time, but the one before that, because I had started getting Tamar Braxton to follow me. That was the page where I had really, really, really went viral on. That's when people really discovered my video and all that kind of stuff. But I said all that to say, it gets better. You take the reset and you keep going. This is another thing I want to say too. Don't allow individuals around you to not, you know, they'll force you not to process it. Process it. Process what you're going through. Process the feelings you're going through. Grieve it. I was listening to my pastor not too long ago, and like I said, this is not a Christian podcast. I'm just a Christian who happens to have a podcast, you know. But I was listening to my pastor on Sunday teaching, and he said, when he had first, you know, really, really made his commitment to God, well, you know, a few days after, he was just crying profusely, and he couldn't understand why he was crying like that until he realized that he was grieving. And you might say, well, what in the world are you grieving when you give your life over to God? You're grieving everything that you had desires for, because you have to now understand that I have to go through these emotions because now I'm saying not my ways, his ways. And that means death to some of the things that I wanted to do, but God might not want me to do. I said all that to say this. Go through the emotions of the reset. You know, we are human. We experience emotions. We're not just computers who can have a hard reset and not feel anything alongside it. Go through the emotions of the reset. When that first happened to me, I'm gonna tell you the first feeling I felt was just frustration. I was angry. I was like, not again. I'm not doing this again. I'm sick and tired of this. I don't want to have to, and especially in the social media space, it's almost like, you know, you have to keep proving yourself to people. You have to keep reintroducing yourself to people. And I'm in my head like, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to reintroduce myself to anybody. I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like I should be at this place where everybody already knows. They should believe me. They should trust me. They should do all these things. They should do all these things. And I'm in my head experiencing all this. And then after frustration, after all of that came out, then I'm like, you know what? I'm just tired. I don't have energy to be frustrated. I don't have energy to do this. I don't have energy to do that. I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then after that feeling of feeling exhausted, then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it half-heartedly. So now I'm lazy. I'm procrastinating because I'm like, you know what? It's not going to make a difference anyway. I'm becoming pessimistic. So I'm experiencing all of these emotions and I'm having to go through it. I'm becoming pessimistic. I'm frustrated. I'm debilitated. I'm just all of these things circling around me step by step by step until I realized I had to take a moment. It was like, you know what? I've been through those steps, and this is all internally because, I'm not a person to show all of these things on the outside or anything like that. But I'm experiencing all of this internally, and and I'm in my head like, you know what? Bam. And something clicked. Something clicked. And I was like, you know what? And this is just recently, like maybe within the last 2 days. Okay? It's like in the last 2 days, something clicked. And I was like, you know what? It's time to get up. It's time to start putting it back out there. It's time to start going forth again. And not that I hadn't already set out plans for what I wanted the rest of my year to look like, what I want the next couple months to look like, what I want the next couple weeks to look like. It's not that I didn't set out plans, but something was just missing because I'm very big on knowledge, right? I like to be knowledgeable about things, and I found myself writing. I got plans out. I got lists out. I got all of these things out. Even when it comes to a diet, I have a whole. Let me tell you something. Start using ChatGPT. Thank you. I had ChatGPT put me a whole juice plan diet together. I went and bought a juicer not too long ago. I got all this stuff, and let me tell you this. Do you think I done juiced a noun, fruit, or vegetable yet? I ain't juiced nothing yet. So I'm very big. I'm very, very big on knowledge and having everything planned out and everything is written down. I have set reminders. I have checklists built for myself. All of these things that I have built in place, and nothing is being done. And then a word came to my heart and it convicted me. Faith without works is dead, right? I had to realize that while I might have the faith for these things, I am having no works for it. And therefore, everything that I had on my vision board, everything I had in my action plan, these things that I'm developing now, it's all dead. It's dead. It's dead. I'm waking up every day and I'm going to the tomb that is my dreams because it's dead. It's not alive. It's not alive. So so the question becomes, well, Xavian, how do you make it alive? I don't know what I'm doing right now in my life. I haven't even written out anything. I haven't even planned anything. How do I get these things alive? You know what you do? You put one foot in front of the other and you step ahead. I know. It's rough. I know it's tough. I know you're experiencing some of the things that I felt. You might be experiencing them on a higher level. You might be experiencing all of these things around you, but you put one foot in front of the other. Even if you have to pick up your leg while you're doing it, you put one foot in front of the other and you move forward. You move forward. Why do I move forward? Why do I have to keep pushing? Why do I have to keep going? Why do I have to keep doing these things? Because somebody is waiting on you to produce these things. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's Xavian D from I Rant Too. I hope you're all doing great today. Before we dive back into our conversation, I want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to our episode Small Business Spotlight. You know, we're always talking about making positive changes and improving our lives here on this podcast. Well, our Small Business Spotlight today is all about helping you do just that. Z Finest Blessed Dove Creations LLC is offering party favors and other crafts for your convenience. Whether you're looking for keepsakes, personalized tumblers, or even phone cases, Z5's Blessed Dove Creations LLC has got you covered. They're dedicated to providing great quality and long-lasting products. And here's the best part. They've got a special offer for our listeners. For a limited time, you can get a 5% discount by saying that you've been referred by I Rant Too with Xavian D. Just visit Z Finest Blessed Dove Creations on Facebook to take advantage of this amazing deal. So if you're ready to find the best handcrafted and personalized crafts, head over to Z Finest Blessed Dove Creations on Facebook and say you've been referred from I Rant Too with Xavian D. today. Trust me, you won't want to miss out on this. All right, let's get back to I'm a big believer in things in life oftentimes do not need you. I'm very blunt in that way. A lot of things in life will get done regardless if it's you or if it's somebody else. But that statement is not true when it comes to the people you have been assigned to. The people that you have been assigned to that you have never met, that you have yet to see, you don't know their names. Some of them have not even been born yet. there are people you have been assigned to that are going to appreciate your hard reset. I know. Okay, here I am being me. There is someone 20 it could be 20 years from now that I'm going to impact their life in such a way because of the hard reset that I just had to endure in the year of 2025. Okay, let me get away from that because let me go away from that because if you really think about it, sometimes and I hated hearing stuff like this growing up because I'm like, everybody doesn't have to experience this until I realized everyone does have to experience it just in their own perspective. Oftentimes in the Black community, we'll say things like, "Oh, if you haven't reached this level, then you haven't hit rock bottom." Well, it's different for different people. Different people have a different version of rock bottom in perspective. I'll put it like this. What I just experienced was, to me, a social media version of rock bottom. I lost it. I lost it and I can't get it back. I lost it and I have to believe God that he'll restore it because I lost it. It's out of my hands. I can't do anything else. It's out of my hands. I can't do anything else with it. So here I am having to believe in him to give me strategies, to give me plans, to give me strength to do something new. Because even though something new is great, it's optimistic, something new is also a little bit scary. And you hear me. You hear me on this. Something new can often be scary. And what do I mean by scary? Because it's the unknown. And I talk about this in my ebook. If you haven't gotten it, you need to go grab it. The X Agent, How to Change Your Daily Life in 5 Steps. If you're finding yourself scared about the future, that's fine. Go through those emotions, but you go through it. I just got through recording a podcast with my homeboy for a podcast that I do with him. And I said on there how some Gen Zers are going to go through these next 5 years, some of the worst years of their life. Because if you can see, if you're looking at what's happening politically, if you're looking at what's happening, economically, we are headed for some very trying times. And what will determine the level of trying that you'll experience is your ability to go through it or stand on the other side of it and say, you know what, I refuse to go through it. Go through it. It's not going to kill you. I wish you would understand that. It's not going to kill you. I had to realize in my mind that what I'm experiencing right now is not going to kill me. I know it's very cliche and the song is what it is, but what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. It only makes me stronger. Yes, I might go through a season of weakness, but it only makes me stronger. It only makes me stronger. So, setbacks, they're just a foundation for a good comeback. I'll say it again. A setback is nothing but a good foundation for a good comeback. There is nothing for you to come back if you're never set back, right? Sometimes in life will push you back a couple steps just so you can learn how to jump. I know. I was just talking about how you need to put one foot in the but some people, I'm going to tell you one thing I loved doing when I was growing up. I used to love skipping. Skipping, when you skip, just go out there. I used to really, really love to skip. If you haven't skipped in a long time, just try to go outside today and just try skipping a little bit, right? Skipping it's just a sign of jovialness. You know what I'm saying? People just be so happy and happy-go-lucky. You feel like you have no care in the world when you're skipping. Watch this. A skip is it's very interesting. And I grew up country too. We used to gallop too. You gallop like you're a horse. I remember when we used to have to do stuff like that in PE growing up. They'd teach you how to skip, they'd teach you how to gallop, all that kind of stuff, crazy stuff that we used to do in PE classes when we were in elementary school and stuff. But we would do stuff like that, and it was so interesting how I looked at skipping. Because skipping implies that what could have taken 3 steps now only takes 1 skip. Thank you. All right, that's all. I'm going to give you that one for free. What often could have taken 3 steps now has taken 1 skip. So while others are looking at you and they're like, oh, how did they experience that success like that? Oh, how did they do this? How did they do that? I thought they were just set back 3 steps, not realizing that you just took 2 skips and now you up 6 steps, right? If you're looking at it like that, 1 skip equals 3 steps. Okay, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm saying all this to say, your setback is just a good foundation for your comeback. You got this. And I had to say this to myself, and I'm thankful I had the people around me to encourage me. I had the people around me to say, Xavian, that is debilitating, but you get back up on your horse. You get back on the wall and you do the work that you got to do, because there are people, There are people that need to hear what you have to say. There are people that need you. And it's bigger than just you. Right. It's only so much for somebody to, and I'm going to tell you, and this is just me, right? When people attempt to encourage me in the way of, oh, Xavian, you got this, you're the voice that you need and all that kind of stuff, blah, 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 blah. I could care less about myself. I could care less about myself, because this is bigger than me. This is bigger than just my lifetime. This is bigger than just Xavian. Look, I'm very big. Why do you think all of this is called the Lewis brand? I am building something here, and thankfully I don't have to build it from scratch, because I have great fathers, great uncles, great family members. I have great aunts, all these kind of things. I have great family members, close and far away, that are all a part about this Lewis thing. I am so thankful that I am building on what they already had built, and I'm just steady building something further ahead. Not only am I doing this for prosperity, I'm also doing this for my posterity, for my family, for my bloodline. This is bigger than just me, huh? How do I compartmentalize in my head that, yes, I have to deal with these emotions from a setback, but it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. If I sit here and I wallow in my, this is good to me. If I sit here and I wallow in my mess, if I sit here and I wallow in depression, if I sit here and wallow in anxiety, I'm helping nobody else. And I know everybody is okay with this whole ideal of, oh, it's just me and mine. Oh, it's just me and this. Oh, it's just me and that. I know everybody else is okay with that. Not me. I'm a giver at heart. Thankfully, I had a great dad who showed us growing up how to just give to people. I'm grateful that I had great grandparents. I had a great mother. I had great individuals around me in church circles and communities that I seen just give things away. And it wasn't because they didn't have it themselves. But I've seen my dad give his last to a family that didn't have it. But because, watch this, I've seen my dad give money away, and he was about to use that money to get us something. Oh my, here we go. He was about to use that money to get me and my siblings something. But he wouldn't even consult us. He would just do it. And then the narrative became, hey guys, I know what we had planned, but this person needed it more. And we were like, you know what? That's fine. We can find something else to do. We can find something else to eat. We had something else, because what might be a preference for you is a necessity for somebody else. Okay? Remember that. What might be a preference for you could be a necessity to somebody else. This is why I can't allow myself to get stuck in the reset. I have to reset and keep going. I have to rebuild when life starts to fall apart around me. I have to rebuild, okay? So here we are. What am I going to do how am I rebuilding? Let's say theoretically, let's go down this list. How am I going to rebuild my personal platform? Well, you know what I'm doing right now? I'm learning more and more about creator insights, something I had never dived into before. I'm learning how to read my analytics. What works? What time do I need to post? Who am I posting for? What hashtags to use? What are these things that I need to do in order to garner the attention of the crowd that I want to do it to? Like, I've already known, like, okay, I know what crowd I want to look forward to. I know what space I want to go into. I know all these things, but I didn't know how to correctly analyze it. I didn't know how to look at the data and say, okay, this is what the data is saying. Let's pull from it alongside a little spice of my personal in there. That's what I'm going to start doing, right? Here I am, high energy. I'm passionate right now. I'm feeling it. So let's go here. One more time, and I want to get quiet with you because I'm talking right to you. Your setbacks are just setups for your greatest comeback. One more time. Your setbacks are just setups for your greatest comebacks. Life will oftentimes hand you a bad hand. Here we go. I love to play spades. I really do. I love to play spades. I started learning how to play it in college. If you went to HBCU, you already know spades is like that. And I had to quickly learn, a great spades player is not made when they're dealt good hands. Whew. A great spades player is built when they've been dealt bad hands. You can't tell me you're a great spades player when all you've been dealt is aces, kings, spades. Tell me you're a great spades player when you can give me a moment when you had a low spade win book. Tell me that you're a great spades player when you've had a 10 of clubs take the whole book because you knew how to play your hand. That's when you are set up for true success. That's when you are set up for a great comeback. When you've been dealt a bad hand and somehow in some way you still end up making the books that you said you were going to make. I know this might be very simple and very mundane to a lot of people, but your setback is nothing but a setup for your greatest comeback. Take what you're experiencing, take the moment you're dealing with right now, and know within your heart and within your mind that this is nothing but a setup for my greatest comeback. That's all I have to say for today. I was wondering, how do I come back to doing this podcast? I feel like I've abandoned it. I feel like I haven't been as faithful to it as I should be. And I said, let me just hop on here and be transparent. Life has been lifing lately. And I can't say that the point of life I'm at right now, I can't say that I'm pleased with it. I can't say that everything I'm going through right now is being done to me as much as I put myself into it. But these are moments where I'm having to realize that several scriptures come to life. I'm really having to realize that many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivered them out of them all. I have to really realize that now. And what are afflictions? Afflictions are things we do to ourselves, right? Many are those things. Many are the afflictions, right? I'm really, really having to realize how to find contentment in what I'm currently going through in life. Because even though I'm going through these things, I'm thankful that I'm going through them and not getting stuck in them. So life might be very interesting for me right now. And I'm experiencing a season I've never experienced before. But I have hope. But I have faith in God. I have these things to anchor me, right? I have these things to anchor me. So thank you for watching this episode today. It's the comeback episode. It's the comeback episode. But I'm super excited to see what the rest of this year looks like for this podcast, because this is what I'm bringing. Transparency. I'm bringing my raw and real self just to tell you that this setback is nothing but a setup for your greatest comeback. Look, that's been the episode for the day. Go ahead and listen to the outro right here. And that's a wrap, folks, for I Rant Too with Xavian D. Look, I hope you were able to find some insights and inspiration in what we discussed on today. Look, once again, if you're watching on your favorite podcast platform, if you like what you heard, go ahead and click that like button and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you can keep up with all of our latest content. Look, I want to hear your voice. Leave a comment. Reach out to us on our social media platforms on Instagram and Facebook at I Rant Too with Xavian D. Look, always remember, get an inspiration, stay strong, stay vigilant, and don't ever forget this: keep ranting too. Y'all have an amazing day. Love y'all.